What's up, guys? This is one for the personality series. Today I'm going to be talking about the INTP personality type in the Myers-Briggs system and compatibility. And I'm doing this video because I am an INTP, and I think that the INTP is pretty unique with regards to compatibility with others, especially in long-term romantic relationships. They tend to be kind of isolated. It's my general thought that any two personality types can get along and make it work if they want to, and if there are certain foundational values that they share. But the INTP is a little bit different. Because the INTP is the most idea-oriented of all of the 16 Myers-Briggs types, he or she is going to require not necessarily the most mental stimulation, but I would say the highest quality of mental stimulation. So someone needs to, who wants to make it work with an INTP needs to not only be accepting of the INTP's independence of thought and their interest in deep and broad ideas, but needs to actually enjoy it and like it and be willing to participate in that sort of discussion and to entertain it. So I would say that in general, the INTP needs to stay within the intuitive population when it comes to looking for a long-term partner. Sensing types just aren't quite going to cut it. Now, don't get me wrong, an INTP can make great friends with a sensing type. Some of my best friends are ISTPs, and our relationship is very chill. It's very drama-free, and sometimes it's focused around specific interests that we have in common. But when it comes to long-term romantic partnerships, and maybe even long-term working relationships, the INTP will strongly prefer an intuitive type, more so than the other intuitive types. And I would say, well, because the intuitive population is only about 20 to 25, maybe 30 at the most percent of the general population, that's going to leave the INTP with many fewer options. Again, the INTP really values independence of thought and also independence of lifestyle, and often prefers a sort of minimalist lifestyle and is not very materialistic. So generally speaking, only someone who is intuitive and a little more laid back in that way and shares that interest in ideas as a value is going to be able to tolerate and enjoy the INTP. I would say that not only does the INTP require an intuitive personality, but I would exclude the ENFJ from that group. The ENFJ, at least to the INTP, but also I could make an objective case for this, is going to come off as the most conventional and most superficial of the intuitive types. ENFJs tend to like the finer things in life. They tend to be a little more materialistic, and this is the result of the combination of their primary, their dominant extroverted feeling function and their tertiary extroverted sensing function, which both combine to value more material things, and also maybe a degree of practicality that is required as a prerequisite to having those material things that the INTP just doesn't value. So that's a deep difference between the ENFJ and the INTP. So I would exclude the ENFJ from the group of potential mate options for the INTP. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think the INTP really needs, someone, again, who respects and appreciates and enjoys the INTP's foundational values, which mainly revolve around independence of thought and lifestyle and being kind of a minimalist and being very idea-oriented, kind of living in their own mind, But again, you also want someone who compliments you. So maybe someone who is a little more practically minded. I find the INTP and the INTJ pairing really works well as a baseline rule. ENTJ is also a good pairing for the INTP. ENFP and ENTP tend to be, because they share that extroverted intuition function, that and both in the dominant position, whereas it's in the secondary position for the INTP. ENTPs and ENFPs really click with the INTP on the idea level, and also on the humor level. I think good humor comes from the ability, or good shared humor comes from the ability to share deep ideas, to have an understanding on a deeper mental level. So anyway, those are just some of my thoughts on INTP and compatibility. I'll probably do more videos on personality types, not just for Myers-Briggs, but for other systems as well, because there are always nuances to flesh out, and Myers-Briggs is just one system and doesn't account for all the variables, of course. There are obviously many things, probably more things that Big Five does well from a compatibility standpoint, and especially when it comes to determining values. Big Five gives you a percentile range on each of the 5 traits, which also break down into 2 traits each. So you have really 15 personality dimensions in Big Five, and they all indicate a very unique set of potential values. Whereas, of course, Myers-Briggs is going to put you into one of 16 boxes. So it's only going to take you so far with regards to what you're going to potentially value for yourself, and what your compatibility is like with a partner of another type. So anyway, yeah, those are some of my thoughts on INTP and compatibility. Hope you enjoyed it. See you guys later. Cheers.